All right, perfect. We are officially live and it's Thursday. What up? What up? What up, everybody? Again, this is Mornings with Movers. I'm Dwyght with Max Movement Training. We got Clifford Starks, the motivational coach, and we have Phil Diamond, All About Tampa Bay. What guys? What's going on? I know that Cliff was out last week being sick and everything. So how you feeling, Cliff?
Way better than I was last week.
So, what's new? I know Phil got a big day today, so congratulations there, because ain't that many people, having that many guys go out in one day. So, tell us about it.
As I was telling you before, man, we've been doing a little something different, man. As far as our closing, how we're, handling customers. And I hate to say this, trying to stick to your guns of, pitching that quality. And of course, right now during a challenging time for a lot, man, they don't care. People are not wanting to hear how great you are. If they ain't got the money, they ain't got the damn money. Very simple. We've implemented and I think we're on our 5th book of the, we're financing moves. So I think 2 of the moves today are actually one of those financed moves. Don't quote me on that. It may be tomorrow. I'm not sure, to be honest. But it's this week. I do know that. But trying to get a different approach, man, and try to be a little bit, understanding of people's money. As I've talked to more people that was in the business back in 2008, because I was not in this business, I don't know how a lot of guys survived. So I've been talking to guys that survived it. What more else guys to talk to, I don't want to talk to the guys that didn't survive it. I hate to say it that way. I mean, but maybe get their input. Well, you know what? I don't want to say that. Get their input too and see what they did wrong. Right. I haven't got that far yet, but a lot of guys are like, hey, you got to put a lot of things down. You got a lot of trucks, you got a lot of men, and you need to move trucks, and, nothing in life is free, just adjust in other areas to make up the difference. And that's what we've done. Lower the hourly rate, raise the price of the damn supplies. Guess what it averages out to be? The same damn number.
Gotcha. No, yeah, it's a mental game, like when I first started quoting, like I said, we had the package where you say, well, hey, if we're going to bring a truck, we're going to charge you $150 and we're going to charge you like $100 for the first 2 men, with the 2 men. So when people seen that and they seen that initial price being bulk up front, they were like, ooh, you're too expensive. But then when we spread it out and we said, hey, instead of charging the $150 up front, we're going to charge $50 on top of the $100. So now it's $150 every hour straight out. And they was like, oh, that's reasonable. But in the long run, they pay more versus they would have just paid that amount up front and paid less throughout the rest of the move. So it's definitely a psychological game.
Yeah.
What about yourself, Cliff?
Yeah, I personally want to bounce off of Phil, and I say that's absolutely genius. And he caught himself on saying, listen to the guys who survived it, and also listen to the guys who didn't survive it, because it's just as important to know what not to do as it is to know what to do. But I want to ask Phil, what was one of the big ahas you got for what to do versus some of the things that you shouldn't be doing as this rough patch is hitting for the movie owners?
I'll just kind of go backwards. So from the guys that that didn't really make it through the industry, that had to end up bankrupting and things of that nature back in 2008, 2009, they were those guys that were sticking to their guns. This is my hourly rate and this is what I'm sticking to. Of course, you got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, whatever trucks it is, you got to bring in revenue. And of course, some that the only revenue that the streamline of revenue that if the only streamline of revenue that you have coming in is moving, you need to be producing revenue, right? Because a bank is not going to want to give you anything if you're not even producing revenue. It could be bad revenue. I mean, it could be negative revenue as long as it's revenue, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can go to the bank and say, hey, we do you got companies, man, that do 100 million a year and they pay out 150 million a year. And you're like, man, like how? But either, you can look at some of the large big corps that does that. But of course, it's all about the revenue, man. Especially, if you're trying to, grow your business a little bit farther than, the home area of your business, right? But a lot of guys that did survive it, man, they said the same thing of, hey, man, adjust in some other areas, don't be giving out raises right now. Don't be doing anything out of the ordinary, go get your accountant to go into your account and start figuring out things you don't need, like what you're paying for stuff that you don't need. Because unfortunately, man, we get tangled up a lot of times with the money and we just start adding things that we don't need. You know what I mean? We got a guy at the office sweeping the floor for freaking 10 hours a day. Why? You know what I mean? Just sweeping. That's all he's doing. I mean, I hear a lot of guys who got all these positions in their business, but they couldn't afford it. They was not able to afford it. So now is the time to actually go back, restructure, right? And say, okay, I don't need this. I don't need to be paying, Move It Pro or whatever the case may be. I don't need to be paying, $500 a month. I can actually go down to this plan, which is $300 a month, which saves me $200 a month, right? My insurance renewal is coming up, right? I can shop around on that. Several different options, man. Work comp, different options with that, because you can shop these insurance rates, man. And like I told you before, dude, we got our insurance down, about 30%, man, for the year. By just shopping. The rest of the years, we just renew it, whatever. I don't care. But, I really, me and my wife really had to act as when we first started the business, like this is the only thing we had and the only stream of income. And we really had to start acting like our back was against the wall, right? Because at the end of the day, man, I've got some guys that have been with me since I began this business and they have trust in me. They have faith in me. When I told them, hey, back when I was running just one, not even a truck, just rent a U-Haul, and then I got the one little scraggly truck, that, hey, man, we're going to grow this into something, man, and I want to see you grow with it. You know what I mean? I want to see you be able to do $100,000 a year. I want to see you be able to do $200,000 a year. I want to see you be able to run a location. And, I'm not one to blow smoke up no one's ass. These guys have trust in me and they have faith in me. And I'm going to make sure I fulfill that, because that's my number one priority, is grow my business and grow my guys that's involved, and I'm excited. I'm excited to go through this. Of course, who's excited to go through a crash, of course, but I'm excited to go through it. That way I get the knowledge, and I think hopefully I've jumped ahead of the game a little bit, because this hadn't just started. I've been jumping ahead of the game this beginning of the year,
Yeah, I think the thing is to make sure that we're not being too reactive in these stages. We don't want to be, I guess, not proactive, but I guess immediately jump into, hey, we need to try everything. We need to do junk removal. We need to do commercial removal. We need to do this. We need to do this. We still need to continue to dig that hole deep as possible. But, it's one of those things where we just had the New York State Association conference yesterday, which was amazing. Had some really great speakers there. Ed Katz being one of the speakers there, who is the owner of IOMI, which is International Office Moving Association, I believe. And basically he teaches moving company owners to focus specifically on office moving. Now, obviously, if that's already in your repertoire, stuff that you've already been doing, and maybe, you want to focus more on that area, then that might be the guy to speak to. Because I do hear that, people, especially with businesses, they're always moving, especially offices, they're always relocated. Now, the one thing that I went to challenge him about was, it's a new day and age. People being in office suites and stuff like that regularly, I feel like that's starting to become more and more of a hybrid to more and more remote. So, the people that's been in this big office suite for 5-7 year leases, and now they're like, oh yeah, well, hey, we're moving. They may actually be downsizing because they know that they could pay their employees a lot less if they work remote. Every now and then, hey, we meet up, we have a great meeting. We talk about, performance and KPIs, and then you go about your own way. You work from home. We'll be on Zoom. We'll be talking there, and I don't have to pay, $20,000 a month just to have you sitting here all day.
Right.
So, but he's adamant. He's like, no, they're going to be going back to work because of the interpersonal relationship. Like they're not having that feel of, being in the same office environment and building that culture. But I don't know. I think that's up in the air. So, but hey, I know he's been one of those people to tell me that, commercial moving has been like all year round. It doesn't really get slow. So I don't know if people are interested in at least looking into it. If you have your systems already dialed in and what you're already doing, hey, you know what? It never hurts to look into it. I believe his email is edcats@officemoving.com. Yeah, reach out. Also Brock from ProMover Accountant. So if anybody is looking for an accountant or bookkeeper for, specifically for the moving industry, Brock from ProMover Accountant, which is on my website, Resource Center, was there. And he's a really, really down to earth guy. He'll make sure that, hey, you know what, your books are up to date. He'll give you he'll be able to give you more industry trends if he sees a number on your P&L statement that's a little bit out of whack, because, obviously he has other companies of your size that he could kind of compare that to and say, well, hey, you know what? Your office admin expense is way too high, or, maybe you could invest a little bit more in that area, whatever the case is, because he has the metrics to compare. So definitely dealing with somebody that knows what they're doing with the industry is definitely probably going to be in your favor. And then, like I said, it also comes down to knowing your numbers and knowing your margins. I know Phil, you, and I hope you don't mind me sharing, but I know you're a big believer in, these labor guys. And one of the things that I like to believe is that we definitely got to keep an eye on our margins, because as professional as those guys are, we all know that they kind of pricey at the same token.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So, I think we've got a crew out. I got Arthur's crew out tomorrow, and we kind of weighed out the option. We flat rated a job, which we don't really do a lot, for, it ain't really local, like about, 4-hour drive, but we kind of weighed out. Us track of the house is about almost 2 hours from our office, and of course it's a 3-day job, and I weighed out the options, and I'm like, man, can I get more out of my guys doing something else? I can just send one of my guys and a pack team. Of course, I've been working with these guys for years, and I just keep getting the same guys, some guys I can trust. I weighed out the options. At about the time I broke down all the travels and taxes and insurance, work comp, and things of that nature, hourly rates. I'm like, well, shit, I'm going to be paying more. I actually can send my guys, and we can just continue booking jobs, and just keep rolling. And that's kind of what we did. I mean, we got another huge day tomorrow as well, and man, it's been slow, bro, for us. I mean, so this is like exciting to me. This week has been, last week, I think we're doing more jobs today than we did, I think, all last week. Just today. I mean, that's crazy. And I network with some other moving company owners around in this area, man. Last week I really pounded that phone. I called other moving companies. Hey, got any overflow storage customers? Even if the guy that's got storage as well. Hey, you got any overflow? If we're getting ready to be full in our facility here, next month with some commercial goods. So of course, you know, I want to be able to roll that over to a good company instead of call Extra Space Storage, because Extra Space Storage in this area, they can't even take our cards anymore. So what's the purpose of that? You know, I'm a big thing on referrals, right? And I expect the same, you know, and I take this, and I had to think about this. On a mechanic of mine, I have been referring this guy to my family, friends, everybody that I know, man, for the last 3 years, hundreds of thousands of dollars in and I'm thinking, man, this guy ain't never referred me to nobody. He moved with a totally different company. You know?
Yeah.
And I mean, everything hasn't been always peachy with this guy neither. You know what I mean? I mean, he screwed up a lot of things, you know, here or there. And, you know, of course, one of those guys that start ignoring you, you know, car breakdown right after you leave. He just don't, I don't know, man. And, you know, kind of blow you off. And I'm like, man, how far do you think you're going to get in business though? Because sometimes that referral, man, is your best bet, man, because a lot of times, a lot of referrals don't even question the numbers a lot of times, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure Dwyght, you've got that. You get a customer and you can hear on the phone, they know around about what it costs. You know, they gotta, you know, Joanne told them that you just moved them a month ago. I'm sure Joanne said, hey, this is what they bill by the hour, you know. And you know, they did a great job, right? So they know around about. So they're not even going to question a lot of the time. They're not going to question. And that's the same thing with referral from realtors. They don't question. They just want you to do it, and they want their stuff. You know, they want their stuff protected, and they want all their stuff. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm not going to say take advantage of a situation like that, but you capitalize on it. That's what you've worked hard for. That you've worked hard to keep a good reputation for a reason, right? And it should pay you. It should pay you back at some point, not just, you know, the minimums, right? Or hagglers and stuff like that, because people are going to haggle you. You know, I think this month alone, man, we've seen so many hagglers, man. I mean, that I've ever heard. You know, from, I don't answer the phone, but just in general of, you know, hey, can we do this for this? Yeah. I mean, what are we really talking about here? $3 an hour, right? Off of a 10-hour job. You know what I mean? Like, really? Right?
No, you definitely get those. I think I had a customer who, like I said, wanted something delivered, and it was going really far. And, you know, obviously you tell them, hey, you know what? I'm willing to do it for this price, but I'm not going lower than, you know, say, you know, $400 in my market. You know, I'm not going lower than that. And they're like, oh, so you can't just, you know, send a couple of guys out, you know, for like $200, sir. I just, you know, said I wasn't going less than $400. Now, you know, I don't ever like to refer. It depends. It depends on the customer. To keep my guys active, sometimes, very rarely, I'll take like if a customer says, oh, I only got like 1 or 2 items that just need to be moved, or so like that, and it don't require like equipment or anything like that. I might say, well, hey, you know what? Let me see if I got a couple of guys that, you know, one have a vehicle because they're not using our truck. I want to have a vehicle and can go out there. But obviously, you know, I'll negotiate the price for them because I don't want customers trying to skimp them or whatever the case is. But that'll be the extent of it. I'm not like, I don't want to be in between it. I'll say, well, hey, can you pay them at least $200 in total? So $100 each man. And then I'll run it by them, and because, you know, obviously they don't want to negotiate price. They don't want to be dealing with that whole headache. They just want to go out there and get paid. So I say, hey guys, can y'all go out there and do it for like $100 each? They're like, oh yeah, we're gonna knock that out. All right. Well, hey, here's the customer's information. Y'all work that out. I tell the customer, hey, if you could pay cash, because they ain't got, you know, we ain't doing no Cash App or none of that stuff. They're like, all right, yeah, I'll get that out. I'm like, all right, perfect. That's between y'all. So if anything happens, I don't want to know. Don't call me. Don't look for me. You know, deal with them.
Yeah, that's backfired in my face at the time.
Oh yeah, I remember you telling me about that home situation.
Yeah, it's happened several times though, in my situations, man. I tend to not do it anymore. I just tell, unfortunately, you got, if you got a lot of guys, I mean, maybe, I've got some guys that been with me for a long time, man. I had one guy, man, that was, and thank God it was at my personal house. And I never really questioned the guy. He's like, "Hey, Phil, I got I got my license, not license, but I got insurance to start hanging TVs and LLC." And I'm like, "Great, man, all right." He's like, "You mind if I pass my card to customers?" And I'm like, "How about I do this? And we get a % off of it. You got your insurance and stuff." I said, "How about I just include it in an email?" Right?
Mm-hmm.
Man, I come to find out, man, I got this guy to come to my house and hang 5 TVs. 5 TVs fell off the wall.
Mm.
And I said, and I'm like, dude, this guy still works for us too, man. And I'm like, dude, you don't need to be doing this, because one of them was an 85-inch TV. An older 85-inch TV. And it was in my son's room. And it literally, he had just had a birthday party, dude. And it crashed down. Luckily, all the kids were gone. I'm like, dude, the TV would have killed somebody, man. And come to look, and I'm like looking through the house, and I'm like, he didn't hit a stud on none of the damn TVs. I'm like, this is not what you need to be doing, man. Like, you know what I mean? And I didn't question it, but it taught me a valuable lesson, man, of, don't be putting my business name on someone without me knowing. I know the guy's a good mover, but his dad definitely ain't no damn good TV hanger, boy. Yeah, boy. And I'm like, man, look, and I got to thinking, I'm like, man, I wonder how many people's TV, he was using something and he thought that it worked, and I'm like, looking at him, literally pull holes out of my sheetrock, man. Holes. I made him come over there and fix it. And then he did a shit job doing that.
Supposedly, they do have stud finder devices nowadays.
Yeah.
But, old school people, they like to tap the wall.
No, he had some sort of wire, man, and I guess it's supposed to clip onto the sheetrock. They sell it at Home Depot, and I got to looking at it. I'm like, dude, this ain't even for TVs, man. This is for like heavy pieces of artwork. Maybe 5 pounds, man. And he hanging freaking 35 pound TVs on the wall.
Like, don't you dare leave my 85-inch on that damn hook.
Man, I'm like, man, this guy. You know what? It wasn't even the point of our TV, man. It was the point of, like, I had to really bring it. I'm like, dude, how would you feel if that TV would have fell on somebody's kid, or they are my damn kid? And hurt them, outside of my house. My son was like, "I'm so mad at such and such." And when he seen him, he wouldn't even say that.
Gotcha. So, yeah, I don't know. Clifford's been a little quiet today. That's unusual.
Yeah, boy,
I'm taking it all in. 5 for 5. That is that's pretty bad.
Yeah, man. I had to go back and do what I'm not the guy that hangs TV, Now I got it, boy. A hurricane, tornado, freaking anything can come in from TV than coming off the wall. If I'm gonna do it, it's gonna be done all the way right, like 100%.
Well, oh yeah. Well, while you're on that, man, I guess you're almost out of hurricane season. A few more days.
Yeah, till next year.
Yeah. Well, hey, that's Florida for you. You can't have the hot and not the thunder.
Yeah.
But it was scary last year. They're talking about, oh, you got your shutters. You're gonna put your shutters up. I'm like, shutters. Oh, yeah, I ain't used to that. Up north, we got downhills, so rain go downhill. Over here. But we got the cold winter coming, so. That's one thing we're going to have to deal with, waking up to 45-degree weather already.
That doesn't sound fun at all.
I went to the conference, like I said, yesterday, and I think the day before, because I got there a day earlier, I was like, all right, it's kind of a little toasty out or whatever the case is. That's the weather in New York is funny. 1 minute it's hot, next minute it's chilly, and it don't give you no sort of warning. It just happens. So, I took off my hoodie. I'm like, yeah, you know what? I want to flex my shirt. I want to look good. So I'm walking around. All of a sudden, I leave the conference room around maybe 6, 7 o'clock at night. I'm walking to my hotel. I had to go outside to go into the next building. I was like, God damn, I was looking good early. I'm cold, man. I'm about to turn this heat on. It's gonna be fine.
Yeah, your lip. You know it's cold when your lips get ashy, boy. Damn, you smoking that shit, motherfucker.
The winter months used to be brutal like that, where you felt like you had to lick your lips. It'd be like negative. It felt like -3 outside, so your lips freeze up real fast, and you just try to wipe it off. Like, God damn, you're supposed to dry instantly.
Man, you out there with the LL Cool J look. Yeah. Your lip chapped as hell.
But you know what? One of the great things for me, at least going forward, is I ain't gotta have my guys come in and have to worry about defrosting the trucks and -7 degree weather anymore.
Man, I don't see how y'all deal, man. It up in the north. I guess if you're born and raised in it, I guess it just kind of comes natural. But man, I couldn't imagine not just jumping in the truck and cranking it up.
Oh no, you gotta let the truck warm. Once it gets negative, even if it's 3 degrees, you gotta let your car run at least 30 to 45 minutes to make sure.
No wonder New Yorkers always late.
Oh yeah, because some people, they just get the snow off their car and try to hop in their car, and their car breaks down.
Man.
And I had that happen to me a couple of times. Me trying to get to the office, and I didn't let my car warm up for more than 10 minutes. And because the O2 sensor is not yet in full operation, you're driving on the highway, you try to turn your heat on, you got frost blowing in your face.
Oh man,
you're just gonna be warm. And then you get on the highway, you speeding on the highway, all of a sudden your car starts overheating because the car hasn't had that chance to fully warm up. And I'm like, Lord, let me just make it. Let me just make it. And I made it to the beginning of my parking lot, and my car just said, all right, please pull over safely. It had that it literally said that on the dashboard because I had a hybrid. So I pulled over, and the car just shut down.
Wow.
And I was like, damn. All right, let me give it 15 minutes and I'll come back out and try to start it back up. But now it's like I said, it's -3 degrees. So you don't want to be playing with nothing that ain't trying to start in that weather.
Right.
But in New York, customers think that's normal. They expect that you're still going to be there to move them. You guys are just going to have gloves on and, touch all sorts of their metal and just, just be freezing. Sometimes they might offer you some hot chocolate. Sometimes they won't. They're like, oh, you guys are professionals. You guys are supposed to be used to this weather. Oh,
man.
Okay.
Man.
So, man, you couldn't have everything packed up knowing that how goddamn cold it was outside.
Right. So I got a question for y'all, right? And before I forget, right? And I want y'all to maybe if we got some viewers, maybe they can chime in. Because maybe I'm just looking at this wrong. I don't know, man. Maybe something wrong with me.
Yeah.
But we started taking some jobs from a company, man, here locally, and come to find out, man, no license, no insurance, no nothing. I'll trade you out some of these locals for some of your long distance, and I'm like, oh, okay. So I go online and look, and I'm like, he ain't even got a local license, right? I'm like, man, that ain't gonna work, man. I'm like, anyway, he's like, let me tell you what I'm doing. And I'm like, okay. He like, so when I get the lead, right, what I do is, and maybe I'm looking at this wrong again. I don't know. But I just thought about like, man, that's actually a pretty good idea. So when he grabs the lead, right, let's say an incoming call comes in, boom. He catches the call, boom. And then he gives a quote over the phone, right? So then about 30 minutes later, right, the customer will get another phone call from a different number. It'll actually be somebody from his office, and they'll give another quote, but it'll be extremely out of this world expensive. And they'll send an email, boom, for that extremely high quote, $200 an hour for 2 guys, something, crazy. And then, of course, they'll do it again the next day. They'll do another call from a different phone number saying they're a different company and send another high quote. And then, of course, he'll call back at himself and close the job at that price that he sent the customer. So, I mean, I thought it was pretty brilliant, but then I'm like, man, I don't even know how to take that. I've never even really heard of nothing like that. So, do you see what I'm saying, though?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of what he was doing. I mean, do you guys think that's shady, or would you think that would be? Because I mean, I thought about doing it.
That is shady. You know, it's just like, you know, and it requires a lot of work just to hit them with the best price. You know, it's just like, you know, sell your business, sell your service. You know, if they don't want to go with you, they don't want to go with you.
Yeah, and I'm like, man, he's like, yeah, because you got to think, man, the vast majority of people get 3 estimates, and you know, they don't know who they've called, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Now, granted, let's say he told them that, oh yeah, you're going to be $200 an hour, and then he calls as a real company and say, oh yeah, you're going to be 180 or whatever the case is. What if the customer is like, well, I really like that guy from the other company, let me call them back? Like, what type of contract you gonna have?
Well, I guess he'll probably just make something. You know, I mean, because he's showing up in U-Hauls anyway, so it don't really matter. U-Haul helper. I mean, at first, it had my attention at first, and I'm like, man, that's really brilliant. But I'm like, is that really brilliant criminal mind?
Mm-hmm. Sure the hell is.
You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I don't know, man. And I told Melissa, I'm like, am I looking at this wrong? I mean, I don't even know how to, you know, usually you know how to feel about something, right? Like, even if you feel like, okay, this is shady, this is good, but I'm just like, I don't know how to feel. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's scary.
I know, right?
I just think that he's not confident in his current services. You know, because it takes way too much energy. And how many leads are we talking about? You know, how many leads are you averaging a month where you have the time to do that? You know,
well, he owned a business here back in the 90s, man. And I mean, I guess they was an affiliate of Vanline, and of course they ended up running it out of business. And since then, I mean, this guy, he sounds like he's up in age, and he sent us quite a few jobs, dude, in the past few weeks, but we refused to take any more because, I mean, I think one of the clients didn't even have any money. We had to call the police on him, literally. Like, she was like, oh, well, I thought this was going to be about $500. $500? Me too.
Yeah.
And didn't realize, man, that he didn't even tell the client that it was us coming. And I was wondering why. And no, we just didn't catch it, dude. Oh, you guys got any unmarked vehicles? And I'm like, well, I think I still got unmarked, but you know, I do that for other purposes, not to be shady. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
you do it for other purposes. We do it because we ain't got the money.
Well, you know, with the a lot of times with the a lot of the contracts we got, they don't want the builder to know that they've subbed it out to us, the moving aspect of it. So, you know, and these people generate a lot of business for us, and they ask us like, hey, can you send one of your unmarks, you know, because we do have a magnet for the truck minimally. And I mean, the amount of business we get from them, I mean, they well over make the insurance payment and well over pay for the truck itself, you know. And I'm like, yes, ma'am. Sure. You know, I hate it though, man, because of course you don't get your mark out there, especially to a builder or new development. You know, you don't get your mark out there, but you know, but we didn't really catch it, and I don't know, man. Is there any viewers on? Maybe we can ask the viewers.
All right, guys. Is anybody any other kind of questions on this? What would you call it? Shady practice?
No, we don't. We're just unknown practice. You know, I mean, is anyone else doing it? I mean, have it been a thought? I mean, because I ain't even thought of nothing like that ever. And I done thought about some weird stuff, man. You know what I mean? Like, hey, you know what? Because I'm bad about this, bro. Like, we get a lead to come in, and I see, just say a doctor at the beginning of the name. Google, what kind of doctor are you? What kind of doctor? I'm bad about Facebook and some like searching Facebook names. Bad about it. So we had a customer last week, boy. I told him, give me that phone. Give me that phone. I'm about to close this customer down. She was at a account payroll specialist for a company that had like 5,000 employees, right? So of course, you know, it was like Friday and I'm talking to him like, no, it was Wednesday. I'm like, yeah, I'm getting ready to do payroll. She was like, oh, I know all about that. See, I already knew. And then she's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, okay, what do you do? I already know what she does. I already Facebook and look. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Melissa said, she said, shady as all hell. That guy practices just shady all the way around.
Yeah, but Melissa said, Phil, you got to quit doing research on people. I said, man, I like research.
Hey, that's the name of the game when you're in business. You never stop learning. You never stop researching. You know, when we first got into business, they was like, oh yeah, you're going to be doing a lot of research and I guess R&D is what I guess they call it, especially in the tech side. So you're like, oh yeah, you're going to be doing a lot of research and development. All right, great. So then now you get your business up and running. You're like, okay, yes, I don't have to do no more research. I get to actually go to work now. And yeah, right. You've been researching for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
God damn it. But you know, I wouldn't sacrifice it for the world though, you know, to go work for, you know, and not against people that work for other people, because shit, we need people to work for us. But you know, it's one of those things where if you have an entrepreneur brain and you work for somebody else, I feel like you're hindering yourself, because you know that, you know, they'll gladly take your ideas and run with it and you get no profit from it. But you know, it and then sometimes they'll shut it down and say, oh no, it wouldn't work because we done found, you know, made this principle and it's been working. We built a system that works. Your ideas are just crap. You know, so it definitely has a negative impact on your creativity. You know, so even when I worked at a bank and I was just like, oh yeah, you know, I think this would be a good idea. What do you think? Well, it's really the president and the board of directors that make the decisions. And, you know, and I very rarely spoke to the president, like if we had gatherings or whatever the case is. But when you got to that level of speaking to him, it was like, damn, stand up, you know, present yourself well, you know, don't just come up to him and just, you know, I'm like,
right.
I'm like, damn, you know, so I'm glad where I'm at, you know, obviously, you know, being that we are, you know, like I said, dissolving the moving operation side of things. You know, I've been able to see a lot of people needing the help in the consulting direction as far as the training goes, you know, because there's just so many people, you know, that whether it's staff that they're looking for or whether it's help in marketing, and there's so many people that's just not taking the opportunities that's out in front of them because they're afraid to either spend the money and not get the return. And it's just like, either way, you're damn if you do. You don't spend the money and try to get the return. You do spend the money, you may not get the return. You know, at this point, it's what are you doing to stay alive? Because, you know, at the end of the day, the housing market, it's next year is election year, and you know, it still may not help the housing market. The housing market interest rates might still go up a little bit more. So, you know, if you were a person that's not dealing with apartment moving, maybe you need to start doing apartment moving, because doing those postcards aren't going to be beneficial to you if people aren't selling.
I'm voting for Kanye West. I'm
just saying. Oh man.
I am voting for Kanye, boy. I hate to talk politics, boy, but I sure do miss Donald Trump, boy. I tell you that, boy. I sure do miss me some Donald Trump, boy.
I don't say nothing on that level.
I don't care what nobody they said he was racist and all that, boy. But I tell you what, he helped this old brown skin fell out in that stock market, boy. I don't care. Just burn it up, whatever. That boy, he had this thing bumping, boy. Bumping. They put old antique classic up in there. Oh, 74 Chevelle up in there, boy. I don't care. No, you know what? No, I'm not really big into politics, man. I don't even know if I don't think I can vote. But you know, I tell you what, boy. It definitely makes a difference, boy. I tell you what, because when our leader is involved, and you know, that's just like them letting what's the dude, the old dude, Brookshire dude, the stock dude, the big dude, shit, what's his name?
Cliff is good with names. He got me.
Not
The
with
Hathaway,
politics.
the dude, what's his name, man? Bill Gates. If Bill Gates was the president, bro, much as his involvement with the stock market is, dude, do you know where the stock market would be at? Okay, if you got a guy, his involvement is in oil, what do you think a mass majority of the involvement is going to be? If you got a guy that's for, the poor people, what do you think his environment's going to, yada, yada, yada. So I don't know, man. Don King would be a good president. Don King.
Yeah, sports betting would be at an all-time high.
Yeah.
Everything be getting rigged, boy.
Right. So no,
you be like, damn, Mike Tyson boxing again.
Well, he is boxing. That's the crazy part.
Man, that's doing good shit.
Him and Holyfield supposed to be having a rematch, I guess, at some point.
What?
Man, have you seen the gummies? You seen the gummy stuff he got out in California? The gummies, they look like ears. The medical stuff, it look like ears. That was very creative, but that dude, man, he living the best life now, boy.
Yeah, no, he's definitely.
So I'll also say with the one guy, Shady, but creative. Thinking outside of the box. So he gets some points for that one.
It definitely sold, didn't it?
Yeah.
It sold.
So I would say one of the things that definitely from a movement standpoint now, that people should definitely be keeping aware of, especially in these months, now that we're going to be hitting November and holiday season's coming around. Definitely looking for last mile delivery stuff. I believe I mentioned it to you, Phil, as well. So there's a company called XPO.
Or the XPO? Hold on, let me write this down.
So there's a company called XPO or EXO. In Florida, I think their hub is in Orlando. But
you got a contact name over there?
Not in Orlando. But I would definitely just reach out to them, do some research. Melissa says, you take it to a new level anyway, so you'll figure it out. Phil gets down to the nitty gritty. They don't let a company have a shell because they're gonna get through the shell. He's like, you an LLC for who? What's the social? Where you live?
Look, my damn country dumbass man would have did an estimate a few weeks ago, and the guys he ended up going with us, man, and he's the president of a university, right? My ass in there trying to talk, my country ass in there trying to talk educated, big words that don't even make no damn sense. I done Googled shit before I went in there. I started a damn AI. What's the AI that? Here, let me talking here. Boom, man. Damn country dumbass motherfucker.
Hey, it still worked. But
it worked.
So yeah, XPO, basically because of the holiday season, you definitely want to try to get a lot of last mile delivery services going. So if you could just Google last mile delivery companies, I think I want to think Wayfinder or any of these furniture stores and stuff like that are good places as well. Because during the holiday season, people are going to be looking for furniture. They're going to be looking for all of these deliveries to be made to them. And that's a perfect way to continue to drive the revenue in. We were working with a company up in New York, and it wasn't during the holiday season, but they kept giving us deliveries every week where it was just like, we would have to go to a warehouse, pick up all of the deliveries. It might be 1 box, 2 box, however many boxes going to one particular client. And we would do like a lot of white glove or threshold delivery. And I believe the threshold, you're just bringing it into the house and you're setting it down and they do what they do with it. White glove is you're going to bring it into the house, like if it was a bed or a massage chair or whatever the case is, you're going to come in the house, you're going to put it together, make sure it's functional for them, and then leave. Amazon at one point, I don't know if they still offer it, but I know that they were offering like assembly work. And basically we would just sign up with them. They will call us whenever there was some assembly work. They'll tell us whatever the price was. Oh, it's going to be about $150 to go and put a grill together. And it'll be like a 4-burner grill. So you go to that customer's house, the item is already there in their garage, and you basically just open a box, get everything out, read their instructions, put it together. And in most cases, those customers just left you alone. They're not going to stand over you. They're going to, they're going to probably go in their house. They're going to wait for you to be done. You knock on their door and say, hey, your grill's all together. And obviously you don't deal with propane. So if they do have any complaints, they're going to call Amazon. But likelihood, if you follow from step 1 to step 10, you should be all right.
Yeah.
Don't skip a step now.
Right.
Oh man, especially putting these darn bookcases together. You put you don't put the what is it called? That panel on the back correctly. And you put those punch nails in, those hammer nails in, and you can't take that off after the fact.
Man. So we got a new interior designer that we've been doing some work for, and we've only done, last week was our first job with her, and she does interior design through the state. And so I'm like, hey, you know what? I want to go on this one and kind of fill it out that way, see kind of what she's got going on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Man, I get to her warehouse, man, I'm talking about 9,000 pounds of cargo in boxes. Man, every box I opened up, it was 1,000 pieces. I said, man. I started looking at the times on them, 30 to 45 minutes putting this together. Shit.
I had I think our guys had a situation the other day. We went to a house and customer was supposed to have like around like 300 boxes or whatever the case is. So we're like, oh yeah, we'll do it. He ain't got no furniture, just 300 boxes. I was like, no, we're gonna be efficient. We're gonna send you like 4 guys just to get it done because we don't want the guys sitting there all damn day. And we get there, and it just looks like a hoarder house. Nothing's together. Everything looks like a mess. And I'm just like, and I think the only thing that he did have ready was 25 boxes that was sitting in the garage. Sitting outside on the what do you call it? The pavement. And I was just like, you look at his garage look even worse. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, so I'm like, sir, the guy's like, yeah, we can't do this. We got to pull out. And I'm like, damn, I feel bad because I know he paid a deposit. I know he did this or whatever the case is. We prepared for this move. Thought he was going to be ready. And I was like, sir, we could probably come back next week, hopefully. He's like, yeah, you know what? We've been working on this for 8 months. God damn.
Man.
He's like, all right. He's like, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to send you a video. Send me this video by Saturday. And let me see how your house look by then. So I ain't got to work on scheduling my guys for Monday.
Man.
Because, obviously I don't want to be that guy where it's just like, yo, we're going to charge you, a last minute fee because we have to cancel on you again. I'd rather at this point, hey, if it ain't together, it ain't together. One of the biggest things I told myself when I got into this business that I would never do project moves or housing moves.
Give me your project. Sorry.
And I last year I think was the first time we actually dabbled into it because it was a state contract, and it was the worst thing ever. And I knew I should have stuck to my guns because I feel like the elevators are one, they're always going to be pissy. Don't know why, but they're always going to be pissy. And sometimes these customers they're hoarders in their own house, which is understandable. Hey, it's your house, you didn't plan on moving. But when you move boxes and totes and you start to see rodents and stuff like that, you're just like, oh my goodness. And, the contractors tell you, oh yeah, we did a walkthrough with that customer. That customer, their house look okay, looks pretty decent, whatever the case is, until you move that bin and you see a flat mouse. Like, God damn, how'd you get under here?
No, those are rats. No mouse, rats.
I was trying to be generous.
That's just Chester. Don't worry about him.
It's always been there. Like we at my warehouse, we always got a squirrel running around. So, you know, I got to that point where I'm used to it. I see him running around like, hey,
What's up?
when my workers see, I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, no, that's squirrely. Don't worry about him.
You know, gave him a name and everything, squirrely.
Right. Yeah. He always here.
Yeah. Give him put some water out there for him.
Huh?
I said, put some water out there for him.
Right. Yeah, don't treat him like that.
Man, we've been dealing with it now for about 2 years on the you know, the housing. And you know what, dude? Hard as we try to coach, and like, you know, tell the case manager, hey, you know, we want to talk to the client, right? But it still don't work. Literally, we loaded like 17 pods for like 3 weeks ago, dude, and got there, and they literally brought these people boxes, and there was boxes in the apartment sitting beside this stuff, and I'm like, come on, man, in bags, and I'm like, come on, man, with knives and bags, whole knives, lamp and bag, knives and bag, you know.
Hey, you know what? If I got them heavy duty trash bags from Home Depot, and you got me a box, I'm gonna compare.
Which is easier. Man, this one girl, she didn't have nothing packed, so I went upstairs. I'm like, well, this unit right here ain't packed. Man, I came back 5 seconds. I mean, this was a whole 3-bedroom. When I came back, it was like 15 minutes later. I'm packed. Man, I went in there and I'm like, and now the pods are about 5,000 feet away from her door. now the guy just carrying handfuls of stuff out.
Yeah,
I'm like, just throw it in there.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'm gonna go get y'all a shovel.
Yeah. Now we had this one situation where the guys went to the customer house and they couldn't even open the door. Like the customer couldn't even open the door. Like it was just like probably a crack open. And it's like, yeah, come on in. Watch where you're stepping, you know. Because it's all over the floor, and and it's just like, yeah, if you can just grab what you can grab. Am I not climbing over mountains of stuff? And you saying grab what I can grab? I might fuck around with stuff on something that's squishy, and I don't want to think what it is.
Right.
But we had a 3-day project one time where it was a customer they needed junk removal, cleaning services ultimately, and moving services. But we go in there, and as soon as I go in there to do an in-house estimate, it was like I felt like I had to step over stuff. It was like so much stuff on the floor. He went into one of the rooms and he said, oh, give me 1 second. He squeezed the door open a little bit. He hopped in there, started tossing stuff up in the corner.
Wow.
It's like I should be able to open the door now. He opens the door and he's like, yeah, so this room is going to have to go. Go where, sir?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Where is it going?
So I ended up having to charge him a hazard fee. I said, hey, I'm going to have to get jumpsuits for my guys or white suits for my guys with hoodies, masks, gloves, because this is how they're going to have to attack it. I'm probably going to order a container, dumpster container to come and be right outside on the corner. So I'm going to probably have to pay for a permit or get a permit from the city so that we can just go down, dump it in there, and they're probably going to have to make 2 trips because this is definitely going to overfill it. And, ultimately, I think we end up getting the container, but I think he ended up filling it or whatever the case is. But I was just like, yeah, it's crazy. 1-800-JUNK, I think they deal with it way more than any of us deal with it. But I think that's a great model if, your guys are about that life. It takes a different animal to want to go in these homes that's so messy and just be able to just get all that stuff out. But I always I love their model. I love that, hey, you know what, they built a strong brand doing junk removal. And, I know in Florida, it was hard to even want to adapt that because people were able to just put their stuff on the street. And if somebody came and got it, they got it. But for those that are thriving in the junk removal area in Florida, I commend because you got to have a market for it. And if people could just say, hey, why would I pay you $300 when I could just put it on the street and somebody will come and take it?
Hey, I feel so sad, man, right now.
Why you sad?
Man, well, Clifford, man, Clifford, he was sick, man, and I haven't heard much from him today.
Right. He always hit us with that
but-
speech where we just like we can't follow up afterwards.
Well, we're almost at the end, so I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, is he gonna jump in real quick at the end and end it like he always does, or do I need to do a drum roll, or is he too sick to do it?
Right.
Because we can't come back from it. We're not going to be able to say anything else because that's going to be it.
We need that speech. I've been watching my replays and I'm like, where Clifford's always, it's hard. It's a hard game.
I'm like, man, I'm looking at Clifford there, man, and I'm like, man, I can tell he don't feel good, man. Been a little under the weather, man, and yeah,
it kicked my butt pretty good. Yeah,
Yeah.
But I'll say this, because you mentioned the moving industry. It's really hard right now, and Phil, kudos on you on connecting with people who know what to do versus people who don't know what to do. Now here's what's interesting, because you said you feel the pressure. You're feeling the pressure. Now, the cool thing about this entire game is life is a game of pressures, but people don't know that pressure even exists. So the worst kind of pressure is to realize you have a shelf life and not act on the things that you wanted to act on in life. And I know this because my mom she was a hospice nurse. And I got to hear on people's deathbeds a lot of the things they wish they would have done. And most people do what they don't want to do all the time, all of their lives, until their shelf life is done. And so the pressure always exists. The pressure of, am I going to do what I have to do to live the life that I want to live? And as business owners, what do we all want? Like, as entrepreneurs, what do we all really want?
money.
Money's one thing. What do you get with the money?
Sex.
Yeah.
That's one thing you definitely get with it. I love where you're going. So we get sex and freedom.
No, I'm joking, man.
But ultimately, what we want is freedom. And true freedom exists from discipline. Isn't that crazy? Like, true freedom exists from discipline. But you also have to be disciplined at the right things. So the question is, when does a fish know that it's in water?
That was a good question. I don't know if that was rhetorical or not, because I was like, I'm not a fisherman.
I don't know. I'm about to Google that.
When does a fish know that it's in water?
Probably when it could breathe.
When it's out of the water. The only time a fish knows that it's in water is when it gets taken out of the water. For all the moving company owners out there, this is the choice of whether you're going to take it or not. It's up to you. If you want to get somewhere, go around someone who's gotten it. It's that simple. If you want to get somewhere in life, go around someone who's gotten it. So these people on their deathbed, they've served me so well because they taught me I can go after what I want, but I have to do it, and I have to do it with intentionality. So I hope that was a good one, Phil, because I still am.
Man, drop that mic.
Boom. We gotta get it. Hey, when he do that, we gotta get a mic. Boom.
Right. All right, guys. So we're gonna end on that note because we've been waiting for that all episode.
Man.
Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all week, and we'll see you next week. All right, y'all.
All right, everyone. Have a great day. Take care.
Bye.